Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Bella speaking to you from Miami, from my new apartment. And I've missed all of you so very much. I've missed these interactions, and I'm so excited to be back. It's just been a really tough transitional time for me. And that's actually what I wanted to talk about in the next couple of maybe weeks or months, really highlighting what has struck me as shocking and as like a big cultural shock coming from Brazil back into the US, but more so, being off the grid, and going on the grid, being employed again, taking my daughter back to school, having to mostly buy my foods from a supermarket. Those are some of the things I wanted to highlight from the perspective still of pleasurable wellness, meaning, looking at how, what is the natural way of living and this pleasurable way that we can really be connected to our bodies, to nature, to this natural rhythm of life, and how we have come away from that and really been disconnected from the natural rhythm, disconnected from real foods and real connections, and really feeding ourselves with artificial foods, artificial messages, artificial lights, and how that has affected our health and well-being and our ability to feel pleasure from being who we are, from being connected to this natural rhythm. So today's video is really simple. It was a really simple experience that brought about this video. My daughter and I were shopping at Target for the upcoming hurricane, potentially. So we're stocking up on stuff. And of course, things are already missing. There's no water, there's no rice. And then we see this whole aisle of the goldfish, right? And my daughter, who grew up in Brazil, she's like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "Oh, you've never tried goldfish? Thank God you haven't tried it," because I brought her up eating very natural foods, and even though I'm not super strict, I make sure that she, tries things every once in a while. And part of me was like, I'm really happy that she hasn't tried this. But on the other hand, I was like, you know what? If you want to try it, because her eyes went like this, you should try it. And I was sure she was gonna love it and ask me to buy more. So then we go to the car, and as we're driving back, we struggled to open this box. It wasn't opening, and then finally she tries it, and she literally spat it out. She was like, "This is the worst thing I've ever tried in my life," which made me so happy because, I didn't have to tell her, "Don't eat that. That's terrible for you." She made that choice because I was able to help her acquire real, or the preference for real tastes that nature has for us. She really is able to, and all of us are able to, if we train ourselves just a little bit, we disconnect from these artificial flavors, colorings, and tastes, all of them masterfully, created in the lab for us to be addicted to them, and reconnect to the more subtle and the really deep, powerful tastes of nature that to us don't even taste like anything now because we don't even have access to them. The vegetables and fruits that we get from the stores are most of the time devoid of life. But if we go back to the natural world, sometimes even that takes a while for us to really reconnect to the real taste of, of the herbs and some of the spices and, the taste of fresh zucchini or tomatoes or whatever it is that you're eating, right? Because we're so addicted to these artificial flavors. And then we went on a conversation with her about how horrible this is and how this is the root cause of 80 to 90% of all the illnesses that we're seeing in our world. And guess what? Some of us might not believe that, but it's true. These artificial colorings and the, natural flavors that are actually artificial, they just are allowed to call them natural because they're identical. They taste like natural, but they're actually fully artificial, created in a lab. They are not only unnatural to us, but they disrupt all of our inner processes. They disrupt our normal metabolic processes. They interfere with our immunity. They create cravings that are absolutely man-made. Cravings are not normal. You know, these kind of cravings that like, oh, I want that sweet, I want that salty, they're not normal to us. They're created. There's two things that create cravings. One is when you're missing certain vitamins and minerals because you're eating so much like white flour and sugar. You fill up your 2,000 calories. Instead of getting the real nutrients, you fill that container with empty calories. And so your body is still craving the real nutrients that it needs to function properly. So that's one thing that's causing the cravings, and you're confusing them with, I want salty, but in reality you need magnesium, let's say, or I want sweet, and in reality you need some other nutrient. But it's also because these artificial additives in our foods, they're created to make you addicted, and they're created to make you fat. They're created to sell, right? So the more addictive they make them, the more they're able to sell them. So all of these industries are created to make you sick. And I'm working at a school now, and it's so deeply gratifying on the one hand to be in a school that doesn't serve anything artificial. It's actually all of the foods are brought from an organic farm. On the other hand, knowing that the other schools are bringing all the dirty like pesticides, leaden foods, and all the artificial things that we feed to our children from early age on. And guess what? Not only are we creating terrible habits for them, we're creating sickness. If you really dig into all of this stuff, you will see that all the cancer rate increases, the diabetes, the obesity, the high blood pressure, all of that is related to our eating habits. Movement as well, and as I will talk about all the other components as we go as we cover different topics throughout these weeks, but I just wanted to start with food because that's our foundation. So I just invite you to, even if you live in a city, try to find out where you have an organic market, where you have delivery of organic fruits and vegetables in your area. Take advantage of that and really start educating your kids early on to be connected to these primal tastes and flavors, because they can grow up in a different way. They don't have to eat only rice and fries and all the candies. It doesn't have to be that way. I have a living proof with me. And if you need help with that, we can redesign your whole your eating habits, the way that you train your kids. Just get in touch with me and we can set up a free trial appointment to talk about it. Lots of love from Miami. Talk to you next week.